lot going on. Yeah.
Lord Jesus Christ, as we prepare to celebrate Commission President. Councilor Brockman, thank you again for the invitation. If you'd like to share with the citizens of Texas City any great things you have going on at your church, you can do so at this time.
Letting Easter keeping us on. We'll have a good breakfast on Easter, Easter egg hunt for kids and families afterward, and I think I might declare a new feast day, Holy Pie Day, celebrate our 350.
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate you. So as always, we have our reports from different departments in the city. Today we have our Human Resources Department who's going to give an annual update. We hear from our Human Resources Director, Ms. Jennifer Englishot.
Mayor, Commissioners. So this is the annual report, January 1 through December 31st of 2025. So a lot of meetings that we do, like our new hire orientation or management services meetings, we always start off with the mission of the City of Texas City. So I'm just going to read that here to set the tone. The mission of the City of Texas City is to serve and benefit our citizenry equally and fairly by providing professional, dependable services oriented towards enhancing the quality of life for our customers, improving our community, protecting our environment, and instilling pride in our employees. We will accomplish these goals with people, policies, and procedures that inspire caring, responsive, and quality public service. In human resources, our mission is that we strive to provide support and the highest degree of service regarding employment, benefits, compensation, and safety. So who we are. So we are now a team of 5. So I'm the director, Annette Martinez is the benefits coordinator, Susan does training for workers' comp, Leah is the HR specialist for civil service, and Aubrey Sullivan is the HR manager. So what we do, I'm not going to read all of these, but things like benefits, so we review benefit proposals, assist the brokers, roll things out to employees, recruitment, selection, and hiring, everything we do with onboarding, employee relations, compensation, so things like working with directors, pay plans, gradings, we're just putting positions, and then most of the policies. So I use the same sort of template that I used last year so that I can compare the numbers so that it look familiar. So as of 12/31/2025, so we had 445 total employees, 490 were full-time and 55 were part-time, so those are the year-round staff. And to the right, you'll see the pie graph with the numbers and the departments. So obviously the biggest slice of the pie is public safety at 202. And then the next departments are Parks and Rec and Public Works. So this shows the numbers of gender in the workforce, very similar to last year. It is about, I think, 27% female and 73% male. So the numbers were very similar to last year. And then the age group, those numbers were very similar as well. And your favorite one, the generations in our workplace. So of those employees, 49 were baby boomers, 164 resignations. The yellow is retired, the light blue is terminated or fired for cause, and then we had one employee pass away, so those are everybody that left the city in 2025, so there was 178. And then on the right, you'll see by department with the reasons for those terminations by department. I didn't include the end of summer in there. So the overall turnover rate for 2025 was 21.2%, which is an increase from 2024. It was 15.2 in 2024. I do talk to the director of HR at League City quite frequently, and he said their turnover rate for 2025 was just about 20%, so that made me feel a little bit better that it increased, so a lot of people are seeing higher rates. 24.8% new hire turnover, so that means people that were hired in the year and left within a year. So on the right, you'll see the turnover by department for the numbers, and then of those new hire turnovers, there were 27 total. 13 were terminated and not eligible for retire, so not just a resignation or didn't meet probationary period. So retirement, so we have two different retirement systems that most of our employees are in. One is TMRS, and there are currently, well, as of 12/31/2025, there were 450 total employees in TMRS. So as of that date, there were 97 eligible to retire. And then if nobody leaves between 12/31/2025 and 12/31/2030, there would be 179 eligible at that point. And on the right, it has the numbers eligible by department for retirement as of that 12/31 date. So there's also the fire pension. So there's 89 total active employees in that pension. 12/31/25, there were 2 active employees that were eligible. I saw on the agenda for next month, we have 2 more people celebrating their 20 years, so they will also be eligible. But if nobody left between 12/31/25 and 12/31/2030, 16 would be eligible at that date. And on the right, it has a chart that shows their current age, number of years, and you'll see how they kind of move towards that 20-year mark. So highlights from 2025. So January, we added our 4th team member. Pay no attention to the second one because I put that in there. It's through 2026. April 2025, we added our 5th team member to HR, which is Ms. Audrey, who's over here in the beautiful pink shirt. So May 2025, we had our annual health and safety fair. September 2025 was our wellness week, and we had biometric screenings, skin cancer screenings, flu shots, there were people doing massages there, just a good opportunity to get information on health and wellness. And then October of 2025, we partnered with Work Shield and started using them for workplace harassment, discrimination, and misconduct
comments. We have several people who have requested to address the commission. We will ask that you adhere to all of the requirements. Several people have asked to address the commission on item 7B. So we will take those one by one. First, we have Mr. Brian Getchis. Want to let everybody know that you have up to 3 minutes, as is our protocol. You can make your way. We do not really engage and answer any questions. These are just the public's comments to the commission, unless there's a point of information that needs to be corrected.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Brian Getchis. I have been an advocate for our officers, and I put in open records requests. And one of the facts I want everyone to know is our department has 101 authorized positions. 75 of those are filled. Of that, 38 officers are on patrol. And of that 38, it would appear 13 are probationary. So we have 13 officers out of 38 with less than 1 year experience on patrol. The rest of the officers are assigned to different divisions. And I just think this is crazy, once again, what our proposal is, the formation of another union. I'm going to claim this a defective agenda notice that was posted to all of us, and statutory misrepresentation from the facts that were added after it was posted after 72 hours, inaccuracy, and a contractual conflict. The agenda item as originally posted did not appear to contain substantive background language later added to the public records. I have those here, but I only have 3 minutes. A factual inaccuracy in the background representation. The background statement provided by the city says 50 civil service members. Of that 50, 12 were under a year. So there were 38 civil service employees that are covered under the contract. Probationary officers are not civil service employees under Chapter 143 and are generally not afforded the same statutory protections or representation status as classified civil service members. If the petition that has been given to our city council to make a decision on relies on the majority of civil service employees, inclusion of probationary officers in the representation count materially misstates the factual basis for the action being considered. The city is currently a party to a valid collective bargaining agreement with an existing organization. As signed in contract, the following language, quote, "This agreement shall be effective as of October 1st, 2024, and shall remain in full force and effect until September 30th, 2026, or until superseded by a new contract between the parties, or in the event the two parties cannot agree on a superseding contract, the present contract shall stay in full force and effect for 3 years beyond the existing contract." Before the existing contract was signed, this paragraph was placed above it. All negotiations will be conducted exclusively between the designated representatives of the city and the association. The association is TNCAA.
That's right.
Neither party will make any effort to bypass the spokesman of the other party.
The time is up. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Brian.
Next, we have to address the commission.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Rachel Spar, and I serve as the president of the Texas City Municipal Police Association. For more than 50 years, TCMPA has represented the police officers of the Texas City Police Department. Through different administrations, different chiefs, and generations of officers, our purpose has always been the same: to ensure that the men and women who protect this community have a professional, independent voice. Our current collective bargaining agreement remains in effect through September 30th, 2026. In contains provisions allowing it to continue for an additional 3 years. The preamble of that agreement states that the city recognizes TCMPA as the sole and exclusive bargaining agent for all permanent, non-probationary officers, as defined in the Texas Local Government Code. We understand that some officers have questions about representation or about the direction of the association. That is a healthy part of any organization. Officers should absolutely have the right to ask questions and seek improvement. But representation matters should always be resolved in a way that is fair, transparent, and free from fear of retaliation. The most trusted way to determine representation is simple: a neutral, secret ballot election where every eligible officer can vote freely and privately without fear of city involvement. TCMPA is not afraid of that process. In fact, we have expressed our willingness to resolve this matter through a neutral election so that officers themselves, not administrators, not politics, not city officials, not the speculation, determines the outcome. However, there is currently an active grievance concerning the city's involvement in the proposed election, and the recognition provisions contained in our existing collective bargaining agreement. That process is already underway. Moving forward with the resolution tonight, while the process is still pending, creates uncertainty for officers in this department and for the city itself. This decision affects morale inside the department, recruitment for future officers, and stability of the workforce responsible for protecting each one of you. There is no immediate urgency that requires bypassing the process that is already in motion. The current agreement remains in place through 2026, and the grievance process exists to resolve disputes just like this one. Allowing that process to finish does not prevent officers from having a voice. It protects the integrity of how that voice is heard. Thank you all.
Next, we have words from Mr. Benjamin Bruce Clausen. Take your time, sir.
My name is Benjamin Bruce Clausen. I am a former state commissioner. I'm a retired Homeland Security Director, emergency manager for the city, and I was a police officer for 50 years in one day. I have seen so many changes in my time. I'm here tonight about this agenda 7B. It cannot stand. It is not fair. There is a system set out in Texas in the law to resolve an issue between two unions of a police department. And this is not it. It doesn't come here. It goes to arbitrators, it goes so many other places. This is just another attempt to silence those that you don't want to hear from. And it doesn't work like that. You cannot do that. It's not morally correct, and it's certainly not legally correct, as you'll find out through lawsuits. But if you officers want to form another union, great, form that union. But there is a way that the two unions have to come together and involve arbitrators and other things. I don't have any problems with the second union. I'm the president and vice president of the union that's there now. But if you want another one, great. But go about it the right way. Don't take this shortcut. Don't try to silence those individuals who have spoken out. It's not right. It's neither morally correct nor legally correct. And you would be wrong if you do so. Totally wrong. You're taking sides on something that should not be before you at this point. Someday it'll come before you, but not tonight, not today. I urge you to vote this thing down, as you should. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Michael Kellerman.
Commissioners, my name is Mike Elman, and I'm the Vice President of Tech City Municipal Police Association. Tonight I'm speaking in reference to Resolution 2026-029, the petition filed by Tech City Police Association to seek representation as sole collective bargaining unit for all officers. But as occurred inside our police department, surrounding representation is no longer just an internal association matter. It's a governance issue that impacts stability and morale. All officers operate under a collective bargaining agreement authorized by Texas Government Code Chapter 174 that outlines a clear statutory process. This law exists to protect employees, the city, and public from instability. That collective bargaining agreement, which was signed by the mayor and TCMPA board members, clearly identifies TCMPA as a sole and exclusive bargaining unit. In January, an attempt was made to change the representation of TCMPA board members. During this attempt, concerns arose involving eligibility due to violations of TCMPA bylaws, its constitution, administrative involvement and takeover discussions found from text messages, and selective enforcement from the chief's office of a standing order prohibiting association business while on duty, which led us here today. After that failed attempt, a new association was formed under the name Texas City Police Association. However, a petition for collective bargaining rights was circulated before that organization was formally structured with board members, bylaws, and a constitution, which raised serious questions about compliance with Chapter 174 of the Texas Government Code. TCPA was not defined as an association until they held a meeting on February 25th, 2026 that established, recognized board members, bylaws, and constitution. Additionally, petition signatures included probationary police officers, which are non-civil service employees. The collective bargaining contract covers civil service employees as well as Texas Government Code Chapter 143. Some of the officers mentioned they felt pressure to sign. We're told the petition related wage issues, not representation. Once some of the officers realized they were misinformed, they requested to remove their names from the petition. They were advised that it was too late. The city attorney later became involved in discussions related to the representation issue. However, Chapter 174 places the responsibility for representation matters with the employees themselves and expects the city to remain neutral in those disputes. The only mediator Chapter 174 recognizes is the American Arbitration Association. Because of these concerns, TCPA formally filed a class action agreement under the current collective bargaining agreement, which states TCMPA is the sole and exclusive bargaining unit. This agreement was filed not to create division, but to protect the integrity of the agreement and assurance of compliance with state law. TCMPA is not asking the council to take sides, but the council does have a responsibility to ensure that state law is followed precisely. Standing orders are enforced equally. The city remains neutral in representation disputes, protect them from unnecessary legal exposure. The current collective bargaining agreement is respected unless lawfully changed. This is not about personalities. It is about process. It's about transparency. It's about protecting public confidence by city leadership. I respectfully request that council direct a neutral review of compliance with Chapter 174. Publicly review.
Mr. Wayne Dolcevino.
Good evening, City Council. Mayor, I look forward to answering my questions. I'm here tonight to talk about some friends I've made over the last year as I've been investigating this interesting city government. And I know that you control the agenda, Mayor, so whatever you want goes on and whatever you don't doesn't. I'd like to thank the officers for coming here. I'm a big supporter usually of the police department. I'm sure you're all here on your own time after working long shifts. At least that's right? You're all here on your own time. I hope I find that out. But I gotta tell you something. I'm one of these guys that thinks about the past, and I also am very good at the future. Let me talk about the past. So the folks who run this particular unit, TCMPA, were very instrumental in getting signatures for the recall of UMIC. And if my memory serves me right, the day after the recall supposedly failed, I believe illegally, the president of the union was put into a jail shift overnight. Next day. Okay? I know a police investigation and two other people that were involved. in the report.
Point of order, sir. You're to be speaking on an agenda item to be discussed, 7B. That's your first one.
I
You only
am.
get one.
Wait, one me like one, Mayor, but I am talking about it.
Thank you.
I'm talking about it because the reason it's on the agenda, Mayor, is because over the years I've met politicians who are vindictive. And that's what this is. It's retaliation against officers who tried to warn people that everybody was fleeing this place. When you see 40, 50 officers leaving the department, something ain't right, folks. And this should be a process that's discussed. That you have hearings on. Hey, I got an idea. How about a public hearing? Right? Instead, you're going to end up with lawsuits. And maybe that's what you guys like, is lawsuits. But I'm telling you that these folks are the biggest union. I have no issue with Flint folks. They're very nice guys. Maybe that's who they want. I don't know. I don't care. I do know that you've gone after the union. And because you've gone after the union, that's why this is important, Mayor. That's why this is on the agenda. It's on the agenda because you've been mad at the people who wanted to get you out. And you're looking for ways to punish them. That's why this agenda item is on the way it is. That's why there's been no process. That's why there's been no real discussions with the people for 50 years who represented the officers who protected all the people out here. That's what this is. I've seen this movie before, Mayor. A lot of us have. And I'm going to call it out because everybody who lives in this city needs to understand that when a politician becomes vindictive, tries to punish his enemies, that's a recipe for disaster.
Thank you, sir. We'll hear from Alan Edinburgh.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Alan Edinburgh, and I'm the president of the Texas City Police Association. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today in your continued support of the men and women of the Texas City Police Department. TCPA was created following a significant number of officers expressing a desire for a stronger, more inclusive representation after being disenfranchised by the current association. At its core, TCPA exists for one simple reason: to ensure that every officer has a voice in matters that affects their careers, benefits, and wages. Our members care deeply about this department and the community we serve. Every day, they continue to put on their uniform knowing they have a responsibility to enforce the law to protect and serve the citizens of Texas City with professionalism and integrity. This association exists to support the officers so they continue doing their job effectively. TCPA's main priority moving forward is building unity within the department. A strong police department requires trust, communication, and collaboration among its officers and leadership. We believe that when officers feel heard and represented, morale strengthens, retention improves, recruiting rises, and ultimately, the entire community benefits. Transparency and fairness are also central to how our association operates. TCPA was founded with clear bylaws and a commitment to open communication between our membership and leadership. We believe that officers should always have a fair opportunity to participate in decisions that impact them, their profession, and how they are represented. Another priority for the TCPA is working constructively with city leadership. We are committed to maintaining a professional and cooperative relationship with the mayor, the commissioner, department heads, not only now, but in the future. Our members are exhausted from conflicts caused by the current association board. When a city and its officers work together towards common goals, everyone benefits, especially the citizens they serve. We also recognize that recruitment and retention remain critical issues for law enforcement agencies across the state and country. Ensuring that Texas City remains competitive in wages, benefits, and working conditions will help retain experienced officers and attract new ones. Ensuring that stability within the department directly impacts the level of service we can provide this community. Finally, I want to emphasize that TCPA is focused on representation and professionalism. Our association does not endorse local political candidates. Our mission is simply to represent all officers, promote public safety in Texas City, The formation of TCPA represents an opportunity for a fresh start, a renewed commitment for collaboration that is open to and inclusive for all Texas State officers. And that's why we're here today. It is so that everybody can have a voice, not just those that are like-minded for those that are in charge.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
So as audience members, we're going to be respectful, and those of you who might want to boo, I ask that you refrain from doing that. That's your first and only warning. Thank you very much. Next, we have Joseph Robert Wagner.
My name is Joe Wagner, and I initiated the petition that's before you. It was signed by 65% of the Texas police officers. For 2 years, officers have not felt represented by the union. They only represent a small faction within the department and have launched unprovoked attacks on their anonymous social media accounts. They've created a hostile work environment and have caused a significant divide within the department. They force-feed the communities lies and false accusations. Their actions have resulted in more than unfavorable work conditions. Their refusal to communicate effectively with the administration has directly affected the department's retention and recruiting efforts. Worst of all, they failed us when it came to bargaining in 2024. They didn't focus on benefits, wages, or retirement. Instead, they attacked management rights and asked for an officer's bill of rights that already exists in 143. Officers withdrew from the union because of these actions. At the end of 2025, approximately 30 officers attempted to join the union to participate in the upcoming elections, knowing that 2026 was a bargaining year. We submitted the payroll deduction form and paid our dues. But on the eve of the election, the union board suddenly amended the bylaws to prevent new members from participating. Dues-paying members were disenfranchised by the union board, which prevented them from running for a position or voting in the election. Their message was clear. They did not care about the majority of officers, but rather their own agenda. TMPA supported their unethical, immoral chicanery and refused to represent us. We did not want to create another police association. They forced us to. Police stepped in and supported us, and we founded the Texas City Police Association. I drafted the Constitution and bylaws, and I made the petition in accordance with Texas Local Government Code. In less than 48 hours, I had 50 signatures on the petition supporting TCPA as the majority representative of employees. Officers have been joining CLEAP, and Texas City Police Department is working through the process to become an official affiliate. The TCPA will support all Texas City police officers and allow all officers, whether members or not, to have a voice on key issues related to the collective bargaining agreement. TCPA prohibits endorsements for local and county elections. That's not our place, and we're not pushing an agenda. TCPA will not lie to the citizens. The TCPA is dedicated to working with the police administration, commissioners, mayors, current and future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. That concludes our public comments. I want to thank everybody who have comments to offer. We're moving on to this next part of the agenda, on the consent agenda. Commissioners, you have before you consent agenda items 6A. I'm sorry. Excuse me, I did have one more public comment. Give me 1 second. Lost in the stack here. I have one more public comment. Josh Henderson came in at the last minute, but we got him to acknowledge that. I want to remind everybody who wishes to submit a public comment, that needs to be done before 5 p.m., before the start of the meeting. And we did have one that started before that time, brought up a little later. I appreciate your attendance and patience. This is to speak on consent agenda item A from previous meeting.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners, residents. My name is Josh Henderson, I am a resident here in Texas City. I want to speak on, this is a tabled issue from the last meeting. I've reviewed the 22 interlocal agreement between the City of Texas City and the Galveston County Health District's Animal Resource Center. I've also reviewed the proposed 2025 interlocal agreement that was presented to Animal Services Advisory Committee back in December 25, ultimately came to the City of Texas City in January, was then brought for a budget request at the last commission meeting. Now, because this came as merely a budget request, I want to be clear, this document, the interlocal agreement, is much more than a mere budget item. This document contains language that will change and remarkably negatively limit the services that are available to Texas City residents, as well as the city's ability to protect public safety. My primary concern is a newly inserted language in Section D that effectively requires the explicit approval from the shelter director or their designee before any impoundment, including writ of possession cases after an eviction, a animal cruelty seizure where a judge has ordered that animal to be impounded. In plain terms, it turns a lawful impound or enforcement action, sometimes ordered by the court, into something that can be delayed or conditioned based on a permission slip from the shelter director. Moreover, this language will also allow the shelter to declare that due to capacity, which is vague, that Texas City Animal Control would only then be allowed to respond to priority-only calls at their definition, not at the definition of the police officers requesting assistance for a stray dog in a bus stop does not meet the county's definition of a priority call. We cannot provide the county with that opportunity. Make no mistake, Commissioners, there is no policy, no order, no agreement that this city, that any of you can sign that will outweigh a lawful order issued by a judge directing an animal control officer to seize an animal and order its impoundment at that facility. The city's field services, enforcement, and investigative authority lie with the city, not with the Galveston County Health District, not with the administration at the Animal Resource Center. When an animal control officer is assisting with a court-ordered writ cruelty seizure to save an animal's life, as ordered by a judge, inserting shelter administration as a gatekeeper is outside standards and does create real risk.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
This time, you're at the consent agenda. Commissioners, you have before you for consideration consent agenda items 6A through E. If there are any of these that you would like pulled for further discussion, you may do so at this time.
There's nothing to make a motion to approve items 6A through E.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Knotson to approve the consent agenda items 6A through E. Motion was seconded by Commissioner Clark. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. On regular agenda item 7A, we will consider and take action on ordinance number 2026-04, approving the permanent zoning change of 917 8th Avenue North, currently zoned as District F, Light Industrial, to be rezoned as District SP Site Plan. We'll hear from Ms. Kim Golden, our city engineer.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner. So this came before you in November for preliminary zoning approval. That was after it had been to the planning board for approval of the site plan, and then to the zoning commission for recommendation to you to approve. The zoning commission held a public hearing, after receiving comments, they then made a recommendation to you to approve this rezoning. Under your ordinance, after the preliminary zoning approval, the applicant then has 12 months in which to apply for a building permit in line with the project that they're having to rezone for. This applicant has done that, and so it is in order to bring it forward to you for the final ordinance, and this is what will actually change the ordinance and change the zoning and tell us to change the zoning. So this is for the Come and See Free Friends Men's Discipleship Program, and the address is 917 8th Avenue North.
Thank you, Ms. Golden. Commissioners, does anyone have any questions on this agenda? Motion has been made to approve agenda item 7A by Commissioner Keith Love, seconded by Commissioner Bowie. Any further discussion? All those in favor vote by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Ms. Jones. Thank you. This time we will hear from our city attorney for agenda item 7B to consider and take action on resolution number 2026-029, accepting the petition filed by Texas City Police Association for representation as the sole and exclusive bargaining agent for all police officers employed by the municipality, excluding the head of the police department for collective bargaining with the city in accordance with Texas Local Government Code Section 174.103. We hear from our city attorney, Mr. Kyle Dixon.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. On January 28th, 2026, 50 civil service members of the Texas Police Department filed a petition with the city's office in accordance with Texas Local Government Code, Section 174.102. The petition was submitted by Joseph Wagner. The petition requested the city recognize the Texas City Police Association as the exclusive bargaining agent for all police officers employed by Texas City. You all have a copy of that petition. The city had absolutely no involvement in that petition. The petition was filed by 50 of 76 officers, which represents 65.8% of our civil service officers. The agenda item as presented allows a new association that represents all officers and serves as the sole and exclusive bargaining agent for all officers, excluding the head of the police department for all collective bargaining in the city beginning October 1st, 2026. The resolution is considered to take action on resolution 2026-029, accepting the petition filed by the Texas City Police Association for representation as the sole and exclusive bargaining agent for all police officers employed by the municipality. We're asking you to accept this petition, but I want to go over a couple of things with you. Some years back, in the 60s, the voters determined that police and fire should be civil service. That's governed by Texas Local Government Code 171.001 to 2.53. If you read section 174.102, it says very simply, a public employer, Texas City, shall, doesn't say maybe, yes, wander around, think about it, it says shall, recognize an association selected by a majority of the police officers, and we've had lawsuits involving what majority is, and that's over 50%, we've got 65.8%, of the police department of political subdivision as the exclusive bargaining agent for the police officer of that department unless a majority of the police officers withdraw their recognition. We received nothing on the petition, nothing whatsoever. No officers have withdrawn their signatures. they've not decided that they did not want to participate. There's been no allegation of fraud, no allegation of supervisors involved. We received nothing. We received that on January 28th, 2026, and we've heard nothing.
Just an FYI, point of order, all public comments have 3 minutes. This is not a public comment, this is a city attorney discussing an agenda item. So, Mr. Dixon, you may continue your comments.
I thought I left the noise back down. The city has an obligation under 174.102 to accept the petition. There was a question in the beginning about the city requesting a vote. If you look at section 174.104, for A, it says a question of whether an association is the majority representation of the employees of the department shall be reviewed by a fair election. This issue has been litigated. The city has a right, if it doubts the petition, or doubts the majority of the officers, the city has a right to request an election. We're not requesting an election. We have no doubt the petition is valid. No one's withdrawn their signature. No one sent a letter saying I didn't sign it. We made sure that all those who signed it are still alive. Because that problem passed it. So we're asking that you accept resolution 2026-029. Any questions?
I have a ton of questions, so I'm sorry. I had to bring the mic closer to myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but put the mic a little closer. I got hearing aids turned all the way up.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can.
I'll hold it. So, I took a look at this as well, and there's currently a CBA with the Texas City Municipal Police Association, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And it ends September 30th, 2026, right?
Correct.
Okay. The new association formed on February 26th, around about that day.
I don't know when they were formed, but they've been formed since January 28th, 2006.
Well, this petition was drafted on January 28th, or turned in.
Correct.
And on February 26th, I think I heard someone, Wagner, say that someone mentioned that they formed on February 26th. I looked at 104, and I'm concerned because, first of all, this is a state statute, the Texas Government Code, and this outlines procedures when you have two associations. It outlines procedures for them to determine who's going to be the exclusive bargaining association. So the first thing, if you look at 104, because I've highlighted it, it says that there has to be a fair election. All right, did that happen?
I understand. But we don't have that problem. This issue been litigated. We have a petition signed by more than the majority of the police officers.
I understand that, but this 174.104 does not mention a petition, if that's acceptable. Do you have case law?
Glad you brought that up. That's been litigated as well.
Okay. Under what case law?
What's that?
What case law?
McAllen Police Officer Association Union versus McAllen, okay? We hold that the selection of a bargaining agent by municipal police officers under section 174.102 may be accomplished by means of a petition.
We already have.
You got one there.
I have that, but I'm saying, don't we already have a bargaining association? That's already currently in place.
We do.
That's what I'm saying. So yes, you're right in the sense that that has to happen. It says shall, so we have to do it. But we already have an association in place. So now a second association can be formed, but the original association has the exclusive bargaining rights. And if a new association wants the bargaining rights, 174.104, it outlines what they should do. And it says that they have, and it says it right here, a fair election conducted according to procedures agreed on by the parties. That means, and it says shall, right? And then it says if they are unable to agree on the election, either party may request arbitration to American Arbitration Association to conduct the election to certify the results. The certification of the results of the election under this section shall resolve the question regarding representation, right? And if you continue to read, it says the public employer shall pay the expenses of the election except that if two or more associations seek recognition as a bargaining agent. That case law that you're talking about is making a reference that if there's no bargaining association, we already have it. So now we bring in a second association that does not have the authority to bargain, and they want us to break the law. I'm looking at it, we have it on the screen.
Commissioner, can I intervene just a second? You quoted 174.104, but you started at the end of the sentence.
I'll read the entire thing.
You left off a very important beginning of the sentence, which says, let me finish, a question of whether an association is the majority representative. If there is a question if that's a majority, then the rest of the clause that you read stands.
Let me read, I'm reading from here.
So
right?
there is no question if 50 is the majority of 78.
No, you can't, what about the current contract that we have?
And that current contract, the current CBA, will run its full course, and it won't be interrupted until it is over September 30th.
Yeah, well, we're in May, we're in March, right, or I think we're in March, yeah. But what I'm saying is, why are we in such a rush to do this? It's March.
I'm not in a rush. 102 says we shall.
I'm not making it, we have difference of opinion, I'm not an attorney, you are. But I'm looking at what it says and I'm reading it at face value. Are you familiar with Texas Association of County Employees versus Board? It's a case law, Texas Association of County Employees versus Board.
That's correct. 33 Southwest 3rd, 820, to give the entire case of that right there.
Right. What essentially happened in that case, if you don't mind sharing? Can you shed light on that? Do you have any?
Because they didn't have a majority of the officers sign the petition, that's why.
Okay. So
That's the difference.
All right, but did they currently have a bargaining agent or association?
Yes.
And they wanted to be this, but they didn't have enough. But the point is that if we already have something, why are we, in my opinion, 104 dictates how this should be handled. And we're seeing what the
104 does not.
We're going to agree to disagree. So, I'm going to end my comments. I'm going to say a few things and then I'll let everyone else speak. But I think that this item, so I think that this is something that we have a May 2nd election, and I think that this is something that that folks that are Tories should consider, and it needs to happen after that date. I don't believe that the new association followed the proper guidelines regarding a fair election per 174.104. And then TCMPA has been around for 50 years. I think the president said that. And I just don't think that this is appropriate. And I think that the city commission really doesn't have a place here in this adopting this fight. I think that the association should figure this out. And we all do the election process. And we shouldn't be, throwing our 2 cents in muddy in the waters. So I'll give somebody else a chance to speak on it, and then I'm going to make a motion.
Mr. Dixon, you heard earlier from a comment made that there was a change made to the agenda prior to within the 72-hour period. In your legal opinion, would that be enough to make that agenda item invalid?
No. If you'll simply read the Texas Open Meetings Act, we're only required to give notice, etc., what's going to be discussed. The attachments that were not there are not part of what's required in the Texas Government Code.
My second question is, it states in Article 9 of the city charter that the city attorney gives advice when requested by the commission, the mayor, or the involved in this matter by any of those three divisions?
I didn't understand your question.
Your involvement seems to have been quite a bit in this matter.
No,
Is that correct?
I didn't get involved until the petition was delivered to the city secretary.
And the city charter states that the city attorney gives advice in writing when requested by the commission, the mayor, or the director of the department. Did that occur?
Yes.
You were instructed by one of those three to get involved.
I was asked to get involved.
I was asking for his legal opinion.
Yeah, I'm letting you know that as mayor, when we get petitions, contracts, or anything with the city, we consult with our legal counsel. That's our city attorney. And so he works at the behest of the mayor, and when we get a petition, we want to see if it's valid, we want to see if we are adhering to state statutes and laws, and that's why his involvement was requested.
Is that correct?
That's good.
We do have, I'm agreeing with, Commissioner Love. We have an election coming up pretty soon, and to do this so quickly when we have more important matters to deal with, it's like, the public safety is a big issue and it's going on. I've heard on several occasions, you can't have unity without community. This police department is so far separated. I don't know what it's gonna take to get it together, but I don't believe this is the answer. You had a group over here, you had a group over here. It could separate them out even worse. I believe that we should let the union and all its members decide. I also heard a person make a comment that the civil service, the 50 civil service police officers, if they're on probation, they do not count or have voting authority. Is that correct?
I don't. If they're a civil service employee, they have a right to sign the petition. They're talking about people who have joined and are on their one-year probationary to become an officer.
In your legal opinion, because of the severity of what we're discussing right now, do you believe that it should take more discussion than just something that happened a month ago or 2 months ago?
No.
And the reason
We have
being,
an obligation as a city to let the last petition once and for all to. It says shall. It doesn't say put off, talk, think about it, comment, it says nothing else but shall.
and we shall, but not within a 2-month period, because we shall before the next, the collective bargaining agreement runs out.
That's up to you. I don't know.
Thank you.
I heard those very clearly that you were not in agreement with us accepting the petition. And then I heard also from our officers who initiated this thing, the city didn't have anything to do with the initiation of additional union wanting their voices heard. Based on that, I would like to make a motion to accept.
No, motion has been made, it's on the table.
Well, I had said, earlier I had said I was gonna make a motion, I was gonna listen to them speak before I did.
Sir, that's just not how it works. When you have the mic, you can make your motion. What I'm saying, the motion is on the table. Do we have a second or not?
Motion to approve.
Are you seconding the motion?
Second motion, yes.
Is there any further discussion? We certainly want to give everybody an opportunity who wants to speak, an opportunity to speak.
I do have something to say on the motion.
I'll-
I do have something to say.
Okay, we'll get the comments in. A motion is on the table to accept the petition submitted by the Texas City Police Association. Motion was made by Commissioner Bowie, seconded by Commissioner Knox. Is there any further discussion on the agenda item?
I would like to say, even if we gave them 2 more months or 3 more months, I can't see this being resolved. This has been going on for quite some time, and I just can't see it being resolved. And I can't go against the majority of whatever organization it is. I cannot go against what the majority wants in whatever organization it might be.
So why?
Hold on a second,
question was,
Were there any more steps in between the petition being filed and us having this meeting today that should have been had? I heard someone, other comments.
we've not heard any comments on the petition whatsoever.
And, with the current union, if this motion passes, the union is still, the contract is still valid until September.
Correct.
Right? This is just saying this new association will be accepted, and after that, Cleveland, or whoever it may be, they will take over after that contract ends.
Correct.
So today we approve, doesn't mean tomorrow that, the current union is kicked out. Is that right? Doesn't mean that they're.
Nothing changed on the contract.
And you know, kind of want to touch on the point, we talked about, I heard the May election coming up, right? You know, we're voted by, the majority here, right? So the majority of residents voted me over my opponent. My opponent can't go kicking, crying, that he wasn't selected. The majority is selected. So the majority of the officers have, voiced their opinion, and they want change. So I think if we were to ignore that, we'll be up here as hypocrites ourselves.
Commissioner Lodge, you done?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other comments? Commissioner Love?
Just real quick, again, I'm gonna say this again, this is an issue that should be handled within the police department. I don't know why it's here, if you don't like the current association members, then guess what you do, when the election time is up, you get up there and you go through the process, and you keep the system out of the police department. I don't know why this was brought to us. Well, there's a process, I'm a part of the association too. You know, I know about it.
All right, so, let me address that. I'll let you continue, but
Again, I just think that this is appropriate, I'm gonna leave my comments with the bad, and again,
I'm gonna wrap. You have comments, Mr. Sharp?
A comment was made earlier by Commission member about the majority. I heard two officers speak in favor of it. I heard hundreds of years of experience by seasoned police officers who are retired, who've been through all this process. It's not the first time this has happened, and they were all in saying we need to turn this down or table it for further discussion. I've talked to both sides. I've talked to individuals on both sides, and I know this can be resolved. I'm a trained mediator. I've done hundreds of mediations throughout my career in employment, and I know this can be resolved. Let's just give it a chance. Let's make a good faith effort to make this work. I believe it can work. Just give it a chance, guys.
As someone mentioned earlier, the city of Texas City has been trying to work with the current Texas City Municipal Police Association for quite some time. I have provided documentation to the media where meetings were set up, and those meetings were refused to be attended by the current Texas City Municipal Police Association leadership. Someone said, well, maybe we should wait till May 2nd after the election. We have more important things to worry about. I can't believe that someone thinks that this police association and the morale and the retention and the things going on in our police department are not important enough to be decided upon now. I didn't run for office and was elected to office to serve on this commission to keep kicking the ball and kicking the can down the road for somebody else to do it in another election. This is a right here, right now situation, and it deserves right here, right now response. As stated earlier, contrary to Facebook intentional disinformation, this was not a petition started by the mayor. The mayor is not starting his own police association. I'm not a police officer. I can't start a union. This was started by a police officer who came up and introduced himself and told you he started it, told you why he started it. Commissioner Love, you say this has nothing to do with us. This should be worked out with them. This shouldn't even be before us. But you're looking at a statute that says a public employer That is us. A public employer. And honestly, by this city charter, the employer is the city of Texas City, led by the CEO, the mayor. But I wanted to not make that unilateral decision. I wanted it to come before the commission, so that you all can have a voice in it as well. Because collectively, this body represents the employer. I do think it's important enough, and when we start talking about years of experience, and I certainly appreciate the years of experience that came up and that gave us their opinion. But we have an obligation, we have a duty to adhere to what the majority of the police department has submitted before us. To do anything else would be a derelict of duty. That's my comment. A motion is on the table, made by Commissioner Bowie, seconded by Commissioner Knoxon, to accept this petition. Are there any further discussions? All those in favor vote by saying aye. 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 All opposed? Aye. Motion carries 4-3. We're up to Commissioner's comments. Commissioner's comments, I'll start with you, Commissioner Knoxon. Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Commissioner Knoxon, if you have anything you'd like to close out with. Commissioner Love?
I don't have much to say. Thank y'all for coming to the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Bowie? Commissioner Garza?
I recently received a call from an individual regarding a contract with the Gulf Coast Wastewater Authority. We have a contract that's about
We're still in meeting. Let's go ahead and keep it down on the inside. If you'd like to talk, you can certainly go on in the lobby. We're still in meeting.
So I met with the Wastewater Authority about a contract that hasn't been signed, that Texas City has had for several months. It's regarding the renewal of the water contract. I was informed that all the entities that they serve have signed a contract with Texas City, and we're getting ready to be put on notice. And I think that we need to go ahead and take whatever action that we can do to resolve that matter.
Commissioner Shaw?
This is for everyone in Texas City. How long? How long are we gonna do this? That's all I have to say.
I just want to say I have the utmost respect for every one of our men and women in work. I just do want to say that, every one of you. I have the utmost respect for y'all. Thank you for what you do for us.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. Again, I wanted to just say thank you to every member of this commission for coming up here, voting your conscience, doing what your constituents have encouraged you to do, the people who elected you to the seat. We've had quite a few split votes, 4-3 on different controversial issues, but that's what we were elected to do. We were elected to come up here and make decisions as a governing body, and so I just want to thank you for your time and service and attention to these matters. I also want to comment on something that Commissioner Garza just brought up. The Texas City Gulf Coast Water Authority has sent us a contract. Our contract is up for renewal this year, and I mean 2027, thank you. So we have quite a bit of time. We're not in danger of losing any water or anything like that. But the other entities that get their water from Gulf Coast Water Authority, they have signed their contracts. The reason why the city of Texas City has not signed our contract yet is because we're doing our due diligence and we're doing a water rate usage study. And that usage study takes some time. And when we hear from our third-party consultants that we're doing that study with, we'll be able to make a better, more informed decision within our municipality. We're not in danger of missing any type of time lapse or anything like that. So we've been working directly with Gulf Coast Water Authority as well as consultants that we have. So just wanted to address that in case there are any questions about it. Other than that, I want everybody to just really stay tuned to all of the information going on our social media site. Our communication team is doing a great job keeping you updated about upcoming elections, whether it be county, whether it be state, and of course our own very municipal election. Upcoming events coming, and so we just want you to stay tuned and stay posted to everything that we have. Commissioners, anything else? I want to ask the staff out there you have any announcements, you can make your way to the podium at this time, any staff members. All right, Mr. Bush, this meeting's adjourned, thank you.